Johnny Depp and his attorney, Benjamin Chew, shared an embrace after Chew's closing argument in the Pirates of the Caribbean star's defamation lawsuit against ex-wife Amber Heard. The moment came after Chew and fellow Depp attorney Camille Vasquez summarized their case, arguing that Heard had defamed Depp with her 2018 op-ed. While speaking to the jury, Chew argued that Depp's intention in the trial was to share the truth, and the lawyer seemed to get choked up as he stressed the importance of fighting for that truth.
While Mr. Depp's name will be forever tarnished by these horrendous and false allegations, this case is about telling you his story and the truth about what really happened, which you've now heard. It is about restoring his lost reputation. It's about showing Mr. Depp's children, Lily Rose and Jack, that the truth is worth fighting for. It is. And it's about restoring Mr. Depp's name and standing in the community to the fullest extent that you can. And you can do something.
Vasquez began their team's closing argument by emphasizing that that day in court marked exactly 6 years since Heard filed her temporary restraining order.
Today, on May 27th, 2022, exactly 6 years later, we ask you to give Mr. Depp his life back by telling the world that Mr. Depp is not the abuser Ms. Heard said he is, and hold Ms. Heard accountable for her lies.
Vasquez argued that what was happening behind closed doors in their relationship was different, quote, from what Ms. Heard presented to the world.
There is an abuser in this courtroom, but it is not Mr. Depp. And there is a victim of domestic abuse in this courtroom, but it is not Ms. Heard. The evidence presented at this trial has shown that Ms. Heard is in fact the abuser, and Mr. Depp the abused.
In Heard's team's closing arguments, her lawyers argued that she had suffered domestic abuse by Depp and had not defamed him, but exercised her freedom of speech. Attorney Benjamin Rottenborn argued to the jury that Depp's lawyers were, quote, trying to trick you that Amber has to be perfect in order to win.
Amber's not perfect. None of us are. She's never pretended to be, and that's not what you're being asked to decide. One time, ladies and gentlemen, one time. If he abused her one time, Amber wins. Actually, if he fails to prove that he never abused her one time, Amber wins.
Depp is suing Heard over an op-ed she wrote for the Washington Post, in which she referred to herself as a, quote, public figure representing domestic abuse. The article did not mention Depp by name, but he believes it was clear that she was referring to him, since she requested a temporary domestic violence restraining order shortly after the two began their divorce proceedings in 2016. Heard is also countersuing Depp over 3 statements made in 2020 by Depp's attorney at the time, Adam Waldman, which characterized her allegations of domestic abuse as a, quote, hoax. When attorney Elaine Bredehoft took over Heard's team's closing arguments, she addressed Heard's countersuit. Bredehoft argued that Depp should be held accountable and claimed he'd, quote, never accepted responsibility for a thing he's done in his life.
But we're asking you to accept, to make him accept responsibility, to hold him legally responsible for his actions, and to fully and fairly compensate Amber for what he has done by creating this concept of a hoax for the defamation that he has committed, that you have heard so much about, that just took wildfire and went off into negative media and has made Amber's life pure hell up to this day.
Jury deliberations are underway following closing statements.